Do you believe Donald Trump colluded with Russia?
It's a question I don't think I should answer.
What do you know about the Russian bank VEB?
Nothing that I can talk about in an open setting.
And are you aware of any efforts or potential efforts to conceal communications between campaign officials and Russian officials?
I think I have to give you the same answer, Senator.
At Thursday's Senate hearing, James Comey, the former FBI director, was asked a number of questions to which he answered, "I can't discuss that in an open hearing." Let's look at what we can glean from the questions that Mr. Comey wouldn't answer.
Was the FBI able to confirm any criminal allegations contained in the Steele document?
Mr. Chairman, I don't think that's a question I can answer in an open setting.
So the Steele dossier is a series of documents that were put together by a former British intelligence officer. And it purports salacious videotapes of Donald Trump in Moscow behaving in ways that many people would find inappropriate, but also very serious allegations about collusion between Russia and the Trump campaign, hacking DNC. We believe the FBI and other parts of the intelligence community, the CIA, the NSA, are still trying to figure out if what's in this dossier is accurate.
Is it not true that Mr. Flynn was and is a central figure in this entire investigation of the relationship between the Trump campaign and the Russians?
I can't answer that in an open setting, sir.
Certainly, Mr. Flynn was part of the so-called Russian investigation. Can you answer that question?
I have to give you the same answer.
The former national security advisor. Flynn is one of a number of people who are under investigation for a variety of different, seemingly unrelated pieces. How they all fit together is murky. And that is why Comey did not want to answer this in an open session.
Did you ever come close to closing the investigation on Mr. Flynn?
I don't think I can talk about that in an open setting either.
If it is going, and it is an ongoing investigation, they just don't want to get into details of that. And no matter what they've done, is the FBI doesn't routinely tell people who are under investigation, hey, we're done with that case now. They let the statute of limitations run out because, you know what, next week, next month, next year, they may get a piece of information that reopens the investigation. So it's never really closed until the crime can't be charged anymore.
Do you believe Donald Trump colluded with Russia?
It's a question I don't think I should answer in an open setting. As I said, when I left, we did not have an investigation focused on President Trump.
There are a lot of good reasons Comey would not want to answer that question. The first is obviously the ongoing investigation reason we've had with every other question. And that if you're Jim Comey, A, everything you know in this point is probably classified, or almost all of it. B, you're not sure it proves anything. And so there's nothing to be gained here from discussing this in an open hearing, but a lot to be lost. Also at issue is the idea of obstruction of justice. The allegations of obstruction of justice all relate to events that have taken place since Trump took office. And whether or not he pressured Comey to shut down the investigation into Flynn, whether or not he fired Comey because of the Russia investigation.
Are you aware of any meetings between the Trump administration officials and Russian officials during the campaign that have not been acknowledged by those officials in the White House?
That's not even if I remember clearly, that's not a question I can answer in an open setting.
There are many sources that my colleagues and I speak to, and a number of other reporters in this town speak to, who will tell you who was being asked about in that question. And there are a number of people in the Trump orbit that they will say were being asked about. And I think we'd be hesitant to say it either in a story or on camera until we knew for sure and were confident in the story, because we don't want to slander or libel anyone. His inability or unwillingness to answer these questions speaks to the kind of murkiness of the investigation, and also speaks to the fact that this is an investigation that still has a long way to go.
We'll be having a closed session shortly, so we will follow up on that.